Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation, with one of the most profitable gold coin finds in history. Let's explore! This is a follow-up from a previous video that I posted on this subject of this particular coin, and it turns out it is making history. What an amazing story for a metal detectorist in the United Kingdom. And several of you have sent me the follow-up to the video that I did previously with the results of the auction that ensued here. We're going to be referencing two different stories on this situation, and it is quite telling. There's two different numbers, and we'll talk about that later. But nonetheless, here is the coin. And before we start, if you enjoy stories like this, I hope you will consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Maybe pressing the thumbs up button. That's just a suggestion. And then perhaps commenting and sharing it with your friends and family and coworkers and strangers alike. So a metal detectorist said it was beyond belief that a gold coin that he found in a field last September fetched 540,000 pounds at auction on Sunday. I think that's close to $750,000 US dollars. Michael A. Mallory found the Henry III gold coin thought to have been made in 1257 near Hemyock in Devon. It's about the history for me. I'm so privileged to find a coin of this magnitude, he said. Or maybe it's Devon, pronouncing it. Somebody, I think, corrected me on the pronunciation of that word before. But nonetheless, Spink & Sons, who auctioneers, said the UK-based buyer wants the coin to be shown at a museum. And it is amazing. Look at the detail on this coin that survived for so long in the ground. But gold is one of those metals that does not tarnish, does not deteriorate, does not react in any way with the elements. In that sense, its boring nature about how it reacts with the environment is what makes it so astounding. Mr. Leigh Mallory made the find on the 26th of September 2021 on his first metal detecting search in more than 10 years, having previously given up the hobby. He said the previous biggest discoveries had been silver coins, but 90% of my finds are trash, from ring pulls to miscellaneous pieces of iron and other rubbish. I know one thing that metal detectorists are commonly find are the pull tabs off of soda cans. Recalling the day he struck gold, he said, "This was my first piece of gold, and I was in a state of shock. I remember the sun was shining over my shoulder. The coin was about 4 inches, 10 centimeters deep in a plowed field, and I put the trowel in and found the glinting piece of gold. I knew it was gold and medieval, but I had no idea it was from Henry III. So here's some facts behind the coin. The coin showing Henry III on the throne is the first of its kind to be found in 260 years. Only 8 of them are known to exist and are mainly on display in museums. About 52,000 of the coins were minted and would have been worth the equivalent of about 60 pounds in today's money. And that's probably close to $100 for US dollars, somewhere thereabouts. One side of the coin shows the bearded king on the throne, and the other features a long cross and roses. Mr. Leigh Mallory, who made the find on his first attempt in more than 10 years, said he would be getting a cut of the sale proceeds, but it's not about the money. The find far outshines any finance, he says here. I am over the moon that it will stay in the country. So he says he's going to be getting a cut of the proceeds, but I wasn't under the impression that he would get all of the proceeds from the sale of this. So I'm a little confused by that statement, at least based off of me covering the story before. It could have gone anywhere in the world, and now it will stay in the United Kingdom for future generations to enjoy. Auctioneer Gregory Edmond said the coin captured people's attention, and the price had soared to an incredible height. And now let's reference a story here from The Guardian that talks a little bit about this coin. And there's another number here, $648,000. So I owe it to the kids, said the detectorist who sold it for $648,000, not dollars, but pounds, rather. So that's going to be closer to pushing $1 million. Devon family makes a fortune from this 13th century gold coin discovered thanks to this return to a hobby. And we're going to go back over here and not read all of this, but nonetheless, this is something else. He was 52 years old, found the gold penny buried about 4 inches or 10 centimeters deep on farmland in the Devon village of Hemiok shortly after taking up his old hobby again. And he did post a picture of the coin to social media, which that's what we had covered in the previous video about this story. So here's the more details. The Guardian is much more detailed in their coverage of this. He will split the proceeds of the find with the landowner, and I think that is appropriate, and I think that does make sense now. He plans to use his windfall to help fund the future education of his children. History-loving 13-year-old Emily, who has ambitions of studying archaeology at university, and Harry, who is 10 years old. On Monday, Leigh Mallory made a pilgrimage to Henry III's tomb in Westminster Abbey to pay his respects and offer thanks for his good fortune. It was quite surreal, really, he said. I'm just a normal guy who lives in Devon with his family, so this really is a life-changing sum of money which will go towards their futures. Emily and Harry are very much part of the story. I used to be a king metal detectorist, but once I had a family, the detector ended up getting buried in the cupboard. One day my wife said to me, "You realize you promised you'd take the kids out metal detecting?" So I said, "Right, kids, we're going metal detecting." We found an Elizabethan coin, which they were excited by. It really ignited my passion, so I invested in a new detector. And here we can see a picture of the family together. The day after it arrived, I went out into the field. It was a bright sunny day, and within 15 minutes, I found the coin. I knew it was gold, but I had no idea how important it was. Leigh Mallory, a retired ecologist from Columpton, added, "Both of my kids are very passionate about history. Emily has joined a local archaeology society and may study it in university, so the money could go towards that. Had it not been for the promise I made to the children to go out searching, I do not believe this gold coin would have ever been found. The fine margin between the discovery and loss makes this result all the more remarkable. I really owe it to them for having found the coin in the first place, as they were my inspiration to go out prospecting." Describing the moment he found the treasure, Leigh Mallory said, "My troll exposed the coin. The sun was shining over my shoulder, and it glistened. My heart jumped. I thought, this is gold. As I picked it up, the sun glinted on the king, and my heart seemed to stop." Leigh Mallory said he would continue metal detecting, though did not expect to find anything this as valuable again. My guess is not, but you never know. But it's not about money, it's about finding connections to our past. The penny found by Leigh Mallory was struck in about 1257 by the king's goldsmith William of Gloucester, with precious metals imported from North Africa. The coin features a portrait of the bearded and crowned Henry III on his throne, and about 52,000 of them were minted. It became apparent that they were financially unviable because the value of the coin was less than the weight in gold, and almost all were melted down. Interesting. So the less was the value of the coin less than its weight, and so that's part of the debasement what happened. So they melted it down. Gresham's law in effect, I guess, right? Leigh Mallory is the eighth known example. And so the coin he found is thought to have belonged to John de Hayden, a former lord of the manor. 6 months before the coin was introduced, de Hayden paid 120 grams of gold to the king to avoid jury service and public office. He later served in the military campaign in Wales, for which he may have received some of the gold pennies. Gregory Edmond, a senior numismatist at Spink, said, "Not only does this stand as the most valuable single coin to find in British history, but also the most valuable medieval English coin ever sold at auction. Here is the discrepancy between the two prices from the previous story. It achieved a hammer price of £540,000, but with extra fees, the final figure is at £648,000. So there's where the discrepancy between the two figures are. Edmund said it was bought by an anonymous private collector in the United Kingdom who intends to place the coin on loan to a public institution or museum. The story could not have ended any better in my view, because everybody wins here. People will be able to see this coin who are interested in history. It will be on loan to museums, but yet a private collector will have it and own it. And the person who found it and the landowner will all be compensated, and I think that's just amazing. The sale itself was very unusual because the buyer was there to bid in person. He loved that this fascinating story had unraveled from a chance discovery by a metal detector. So that is an interesting story, fascinating indeed. And thanks to several, a good many of you folks sent me emails about this, and I think I responded to one saying I had already covered the story. I forgot this was a follow-up. And so if you do send me stories like this that are follows up from a prior video, let me know. Say, hey, this is a follow-up to the previous video, so that I know, because the first couple of times I missed this. But thanks again to my viewers. You guys are wonderful. Thanks for sending me this information, and I want to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch this video. What an amazing story and an amazing ending here. A multitude of gratitude. I want to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.